So, there's more to you than just looking like me. What are you, anyway?
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog.
Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, we're going back to Sonic. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, today is the day the brand new Sonic the Hedgehog movie is out. I'm waiting to see it because I got a couple of friends who are going to be rolling through. We're going to get together as a big group and we're all going to see it together. It's actually really exciting because a lot of them are my online friends that I play on Discord with. So I'm really pumped to see this with them. But in celebration of the movie, in preparation for it as well, I thought to myself, I've been quite negligent of Sonic video games. For those who don't know the history of me with Sonic, I honestly hated the franchise. Then I played Sonic Adventure 1 and I went, you know what? Okay, I see where some people really dig this. And as time has gone on, I've become more and more infatuated with Sonic Adventure 1. The style, the funny animations, especially the music, the surprising bits of good storytelling with E102 Gamma. There's a lot with that game I really liked. So I was excited to celebrate the movie by playing for the first time ever Sonic Adventure 2. And for those who don't know, I am surrounded in my life by two things that everyone loves and I personally don't like. Sonic fans and Harry Potter fans. I struggle with both of them. And so Sonic is one I feel a lot of pressure because my lovely girlfriend of 4 years now does love Sonic. This is her favorite one. She was like, you gotta play it. You gotta play it. So I did so. I'm excited to share some thoughts here in this video. If you're new here, you like throwback content, you like retro and nostalgic content, consider subscribing. We'll also be talking about Sonic later this week with a certain game. Yes, indeed. We'll be getting into that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk Sonic Adventure 2. So I didn't have any expectations of this one. I am completely lacking in knowledge on old Sonic games. When it comes to the later ones like Generations, Unleashed, so on and so forth, I have a decent grip of those because I have played them. But when it came to Sonic Adventure 2, I thought it was going to be largely more of Sonic Adventure 1. You know, I was expecting the hub world, the different character stories going through a set of levels again. And this one's split between three parts, at first two parts, the hero story and the dark story. And I learned that they're all just level after level after level to keep up a certain pace and that this game is much shorter than Sonic Adventure 1. And at first, I didn't know how to feel about this because I dove into the hero story first. So it was, you know, Sonic level, a Tails level, a Knuckles level. We'll talk about the Knuckles level, don't you worry. And I was going through it thinking, you know, I kind of feel like something's missing here. They had such a cool idea for this semi-open world formula for Sonic in Adventure 1, and they kind of just ditch it in Sonic Adventure 2. And I thought that was a really questionable decision. But the payoff here is more connections in the storytelling, and I do think a better story does exist in Sonic Adventure 2. I want to start off with the gameplay though, because then we're gonna, as always with these videos, get into the full spoilers for the main story. We'll talk about that because especially on the dark side of the story and then the last chapter, I really liked a lot of things. Okay, so now we got to get into why everyone really likes Sonic Adventure 2. It's not the gameplay, it's not the story, we'll talk about that. It's the Chow Garden. It's the Chow Garden. This is what everyone raves about. When they talk about Sonic Adventure 2, this is why. It's all I hear about. So this was my chance, as someone who's never played it before, to go in unbiased and just go, okay, what do you all like so much about these cute little creatures that you can take care of? So, between certain levels, if you get the Chow keys, it'll bring you back to the Chow Garden, where you'll dump off all of these vials you've collected, all these animals you've collected that you could practically feed to these chows. I don't know what really happens here, but as you give these animals to the chows, they'll adopt characteristics of them, which is adorable. Like you'll see them get their eyebrows, wings, fur. There's a lot of personalization in the Chow Garden that I really like. As you're giving them all these different things, their stats are going up, and I know a lot of people like to farm the Chow Garden. And the reason you do this is because you can put them in like Chow races, Chow matches, Chow preschool. Like, it's this whole caretaking mini game that I think was the substitute for the hub world I so dearly miss in this game. And for a lot of people, it was a worthwhile sacrifice, I put it. I'm going to put that in quotes because I know a lot of people love it. For me, I thought it was cute, but it just never grabbed me. Like, I just kind of would go in and say, okay, that's the Chow I've been giving a lot of things to. Here's this, here's that. I just do the back and forth a bunch of times, handing him all the different things that he could eat and munch on and turn into. And I'm like, okay, your stats look great. Sure. Okay, moving on. Like, I know you could farm these particular chows to say, like, oh, you're high speed, you're going to be great in a race, and you could farm this chow to be very strong, and so on and so forth. There is something very cool there. It didn't speak to me that much. And overall, I just was kind of quick to move on from that. So Chow Garden was cool. I could see how people like the personality in there. Like when Eggman pets one of the chows, he goes like, yo, shh. for whatever reason. Or wherever he jumps, even in the gameplay, he's like, yo. I love it. But I could see how people really like it. It makes sense to me. Or Knuckles going, now there. I love Knuckles' voice in this game. Even though it's not as iconic to me as the, oh no. It's about to happen or whatever it is in Sonic Adventure 1. Like that level of Knuckles I miss so much because it's so bad it's good. But I do overall, back to my original point, like the Chow Garden, but it wasn't the ultimate distraction I was kind of expecting. But for its time, very cool stuff. So on the gameplay front, I really felt the age with this one. And this is so weird to say because with Sonic Adventure 1, I thought, well, this is the older game. Certainly it's going to feel worse. And granted, I did play the director's cut, which was modded on PC, but just modded on a graphical level, nothing with the gameplay. But that game felt really good to play. And Adventure 2 did feel really good in some instances, but I had way too many moments I'd be going around a loop and get caught in a hitch, or I would fly off the stage, or a boss fight would just kill me over and over because it felt relatively broken, or the way the camera was working were certain upgrades I needed to explore the level, like, say, the engines for Tails' mech. Just finding that tucked in a corner that I needed to platform across the stage. I found these types of moments really weird and obscure and old school. And that pulls me into, before I really start to compliment the game, I do need to get this off my chest. These Knuckle levels, these Rouge levels, what happened? Because they did have the trackers in Sonic Adventure 1 where you had to hunt down certain things with Knuckles. And the way the trackers would work in the first Adventure game is, let's say I was near, this bottle here, right? But over here was bottle number 2. The detectors would still go off for both of these bottles, even if I had not found, say, bottle number 1. In Sonic Adventure 2, I could be near bottle number 2, but because I haven't found bottle number 1, it doesn't matter. It won't go off for bottle number 2, just bottle number 1. And when these levels are big, Meteor Herd, the space one for Rouge, when they're big, you will be there with Rouge, I was there for 23 minutes. It was the one time I thought I might download the mod that lets me just get the objective markers for these because this is killing the game. But I wanted to play in the most authentic way imaginable. I didn't want to cheat, if you will. And those were the killers of this gameplay because outside of the age, which you can accept, these were the moments I was just frustrated. I couldn't wrap my head around why they had walked backwards on so many great gameplay systems that were introduced in Sonic Adventure 1, the hub world, now the tracking. It just felt like a step back. And the reason it felt that way is because you'd spend so much time on these levels that you'd realize the levels for Sonic and Shadow, the best levels in the game, were quick and so infrequent. When they were there, a couple withstanding, they were excellent. They were so good, especially some of Shadow's stages. I love his running animation, by the way, the way he's kind of like ice skating, if you will. I just love Shadow in general. But that, to me, was what was really missing with this game, is a lot of these key pieces that worked in Sonic Adventure 1 didn't really translate well over to Sonic Adventure 2. But overall, there were some stages that I really did like in Adventure 2. The music amplified everything. Like, even when I was on Pumpkin Hill for like 15 minutes just searching for the Chaos Emeralds, it didn't matter. I was just jamming out the whole time, like, yeah, this is pretty good. But once you start to push past the 20-minute mark and you start to really feel like I'm wasting my time, that's where I start to really fight with the game. But there were stages like the one with the rocket. I forget some of the names because I'm not the biggest Sonic expert. I'm not going to pretend to be one here. But it was the one where there was a rocket in the ocean. This is one that I did play through and I really liked because you would launch off into space and then the level would continue after that. I went, you know what? Like, back then in, I think it was 2000 or 2001, like, this was probably really, really cool. And you could see that they did clean up on certain aspects of the game that were very flawed in Sonic Adventure 1. The animations in cutscenes were way better way, way, way better. So overall, the gameplay was solid, but a little bit clunky. Also, I thought the change of putting Tails into a mech was really strange as well. I thought Tails was fun to play as. I'm not a big Tails fan, but I thought Tails was fun to play as in Sonic Adventure 1 because he explored the world differently than, say, Knuckles, than Sonic, and his ability to float around and his speed. I liked playing as Tails, and so the change from how he went around the world to now this mech, which was like auto-firing everything, that was the other problem I had, was the kind of autopiloting between the Eggman and Tails missions. There was only one mentally engaging, fun to play type of stage, in my opinion, and it was the Sonic and Shadow ones, and they were dispersed infrequently throughout a bunch of stages I really wasn't having a lot of fun with. I think that's why Sonic Adventure 1 thrived in my book, because when you look at Sonic Adventure 1, you had the Sonic story being the longest one, which was dominantly Sonic stages. You would have the Amy one, right? But it was the quickest story in the game outside of Big the Cat. And these ones that didn't fuel or match the Sonic vibe were very quick. Whereas now in Sonic Adventure 2, you have a lot of gameplay types that are taking up as much time as what is the real star of the show here. So when you have a Sonic or Shadow stage, albeit I would say Final Rush was one that I wasn't crazy about. This is where, like, when you're playing as Shadow and you were going around like the gravity tunnels and stuff, oh my word. This was some of the most butt-clenching 3D platforming I had, at times in a good way, but at times this is where the game, its age shows, and it works against you. What I will say is, walking away, I did have a lot of fun, even if I had some gripes with its age. That's to be expected. But I think just on a design front, it was kind of flawed, and I do wish that Sonic Adventure 2 got remade more than 1, because while 1 is clearly old, Sonic Adventure 2 just struggles a lot because of technical stuff that I think was out of their hands. And if this game got cleaned up, it would be a masterpiece. But for a lot of people, what I think they love about Sonic Adventure 2, I didn't do as much research on the community vibe for this one, so I don't know if I'm going against the grain here or not with my takes on the gameplay. But when I was looking at Sonic Adventure 2, I feel like a lot of people would really dig the story for this one, because unlike Sonic Adventure 1, where you're doing all these random character stories and then just boom, at the end, let's take down Chaos and do this together, and Super Sonic, Super Saiyan, all this stuff. It's just crazy, right? Sonic Adventure 2, though, has a much more thought-out plot where all these characters are working towards something, and the last chapter brings them together in a much more organic way. So as always, in Retro Rebound style, we're going to spoil it. So the story in Sonic Adventure 2 is good. I do like it a lot. My problem is the hero story just seems very aimless, and perhaps it's because of the order I played it in, where at least in the dark story side of things, I felt like things were much more deliberately spelled out to you on why characters were doing certain things, where Shadow had come from, why Rouge was suddenly working with Knuckles when they were fighting at the beginning of the game, what Eggman's overall goal was. I thought those were more clearly explained, where Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles were just kind of lumbering about trying to collect the Chaos Emeralds because, and then suddenly they're like, let's go to the space station. And to me, it just felt like that half of the story leaned heavily on the dark half of the story to do a lot of the cleaning up. So maybe you're supposed to play the dark half first. I wouldn't imagine that was the intent of design, but still, I don't think it matters because the end result is a really thoughtful story. So let's talk more about the dark side of things. As I said earlier, I love Shadow, man. Like, if there's one character in Sonic that I actually do really like, because I'm still not, I would consider myself like a crazy fan of the series or think Sonic's cool, but if there's someone I think is cool that I really like, it is Shadow. Shadow is a character that actually made me feel something, man. And especially at the end of this game, where his promise comes to light and the sacrifice he makes, and that in the adventure storyline, right, with now we have Shadow the Hedgehog and we have Sonic Heroes, games that I haven't played in a stupid long time. Sonic Heroes being a game I've actually never played, but we've seen Shadow appear multiple times, where I feel that impact of what he did in Sonic Adventure 2, which was going into Hyper Shadow and using all of his power to protect the people of Earth who did not know anything about him and protect them. And he dies in the process. Where is that Sonic storytelling, man? What happened? This is where I understand Sonic fans' frustration, because they for years have been like, where's the stories? Where's the stories? I'm like, dude, it's Sonic. What are you talking? Now I get, like, Sonic and Shadow their understanding of each other and the music that plays of live and learn, and they're teaming up and working to fight back and stop the space station from crashing into Earth and everyone dying. An excellent moment on gameplay, storytelling, music. Everything comes together here in what is probably my favorite moment in the entire Sonic franchise so far. Like, just iconic right there. A moment I'll probably always remember when I think back on the Sonic franchise. And I can see why that is a thing that for a lot of people cemented their love for Sonic Adventure 2 for many years to come. Just that end result where when you unlock the last story, right, you complete the light story, light side, I think it's Star Wars. When you complete the hero story, you complete the dark story, you unlock a third chapter, the last story. And for a lot of these cutscenes throughout the game, they're brief, quick bits of nothing, just sounds like they're chatting for the sake of chatting. Outside of, again, the dark story, where there's much more deliberate cutscenes like Rouge and Knuckles getting together, and you can see they kind of crush on each other, and Knuckles apologizes before walking away, and I'm like, why wasn't that in the hero side of the story? But then you get to the last chapter, and it's a 5-ish minute cutscene, which is a lot back then especially, of Eggman, Rouge, Knuckles, Tails, Sonic, all in this same room, talking to each other, and going over what has happened with Eggman's grandfather, who had pretty much had a hand in creating Shadow, and what Shadow's actual purpose was for, and who Maria was. And suddenly you go, wait, Shadow just went from this character of going, oh, Maria, to actually someone I went, where is he? We need him. We need him right now. This is a huge moment for him. And the way things come together for him, this is less a Sonic story and more a Shadow story. And I respect that. That's kind of that Metal Gear Solid 2 effect where you had something that worked in the first game and you just go the other direction in the second game on a story level. And I really, really do respect that. That's not easy to do, especially back then. But you could tell that I've been told by my friends who are bigger experts on these games than I am, that Sonic Adventure 2 was supposed to be the last game in the Sonic series, but obviously it was so popular that they kept pushing that limit, and well, this came out. So it didn't work out for them in the end, but Sonic was a series that was supposed to end with Adventure 2, and you could tell by that ending that this was a big moment for people. They thought it was done there, and that's crazy to think about. And I always had this galaxy brain theory that I want to share with everyone here, because anyone I've shared it with that is a Sonic fan that I know has been like, stop. So here's what I thought. There's a part in Sonic Adventure 2 where Sonic dies. You think he dies, right? He's holding the fake Chaos Emerald, and Eggman shoots him out, says goodbye, Sonic. He's much more diabolical, which is something I do like about this game. You know, you can tell by the voice, he's not like, like this villain that's trying to be a villain. He's very much talking kind of like this, and he's deliberate. He's angry, right? You could tell there was a better focus on the voice direction. Like Knuckles doesn't sound absolutely hilarious, which I kind of miss. But anyway, I'm getting off track here. Eggman shoots him out of the ship. Sonic apparently blows up. And I thought to myself, imagine if from that moment there, they made Shadow the main character. Sonic actually stays dead. And then in like a Sonic Adventure 3, you introduce Silver, a time traveler, to try to undo Sonic dying because he needs him for the future. A little bit of Sonic 06 energy there, I know. But I actually thought of that. I was like, you know what? Why am I making fan theories? I actually like the story, and that's when I realized I liked it. But that was one of those moments where I was thinking to myself, that would be pretty cool. Why hasn't that happened yet? Maybe it has. I don't know. I haven't played every Sonic game, so it's possible. But anyway, this story was good, is what I'm trying to say. I felt for Shadow. I thought that his purpose for Maria and his promises he made him compelling in the end, when at first I thought, well, maybe it's because this was something we hadn't seen much of before. But they did a great job with Shadow. And overall, Sonic and Shadow's mutual understanding of each other at the end made me fall in love with this game. But the boss fight before that, when they're running side by side, oh brother, man, like I hate to really crank on the gameplay here, but like these were moments where the camera was like locked more on Shadow than Sonic, or on Sonic more than Shadow, where if things got spun around, you didn't know what direction to go in, and the stage would gradually fall off, and you just die these unfortunate deaths. That and these other mechanics with the gravity, there was just a struggle at times to really play. So I imagine those who are experts at the game will probably laugh at me and go, well, you're just bad at the game. And I've never claimed to be good, but I have my moments where I can like kind of speedrun Sonic. And that's what I want to kind of conclude on a positive note for the gameplay, as I've kind of sung the praises of the story. One thing I like about these stages here is that this is the first time in a 3D space I felt for Sonic that kind of like what you saw in the 2D Sonic on like Genesis, where you would be going really fast, but there would be like 3 pathways through the level, top, middle, bottom, and certain ones would take you through the level quicker, so you would finish the level at obviously a faster pace. As you know, clearly Sonic gotta go fast. Where this game was the first time in a 3D space, I felt that, where there were moments like I was on Final Rush and I was diving off of one of the grind rails to fall down like multiple stories and land on another set of grind rails, and the game actually let me do that. There's a cool level of freedom there that I thought, again, wow, this is so cool. I wish they expanded on the hub world a little bit more so that we could do more crazy, fun, open things there and maybe put collectibles in that open world section. Like, that would be awesome. So I feel like there was a missed opportunity there, but the level exploration is pretty good in that respect. In the level of, like, if you've learned it and you have shortcuts in mind, you can actually go ahead and try to do them. And so that makes speedruns for this game awesome. But all in all, Sonic Adventure 2 was a good game. I don't like it as much as Sonic Adventure 1. Like, I can imagine I would go back to Sonic Adventure 1. Sonic Adventure 2, though, outside of the story, I don't really think of that gameplay quite fondly. And I know that's very rare here on Retro Rebound. We try to focus on the positives, but that should kind of tell you sort of where I'm at with this game, where if it's taking me like all of my effort to not just boom, this is not good, because I wouldn't say it's bad. It's just, it feels really old, older than Sonic Adventure 1 for some reason. At least Sonic Adventure 1 was old in its facial animations, where Sonic's face was like, blah, 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 like that while he was talking. But in this game, the gameplay, the homing tracking, the frame rate, just a lot of stuff goes off the rails with this. Speaking of that, I almost forgot to mention the PC version, a little questionable. There were times where my game would just freeze up and I would have to hit the Windows button and tab out and then tab back in. So overall, that's everything I have to say about Sonic Adventure 2. Somehow, I'm looking at the recording right now. I know it won't be the final limit, but we're pushing close to 25 minutes. So it's so funny. I remember like when my friend told me that there were videos out there, people talking about like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 for 2 hours straight. And I'm like, how? But here I am talking for almost half an hour when you really think about it. And I feel like I'm out of things to say. So maybe it's more deep and profound than I've given it credit to. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I pass it to you. Am I in the outlier and just thinking Sonic Adventure 2 it's solid. It's all right. You know, I'm not in love with it. I like Sonic Adventure 1 more. Does that absolve my crime? Let me know. I'm looking forward to seeing the feedback, and I'll catch you all in the next Retro Rebound. Peace out.